This is the American Indians, indigenous peoples' truths. Justice for all, the most dangerous show on media anywhere. Welcome to our show tonight. I have a very interesting show for you tonight, and I have some of the most beautiful women of color on tonight with me. Leslie, it's good to see you again. And Alito. And would you do the land acknowledgement for us?
Yes, I will. Let's all pause for a moment to acknowledge the traditional stewards of our lands that we reside on, and especially their ancestors, descendants, and all indigenous people who live now and have ever lived on this place and this land that we call Turtle Island.
Thank you so much, Leslie.
Thank you.
So I think it's time to bring everybody in, and I want to say Happy Women's History Month 2022 to all women. I don't know what I'm going to do, all these pretty women. Okay. So first, I want to say thank you for coming and participating, and I love all of you. Let me start by introducing everybody briefly. MITCHELENE BIGMAN is a part of the Women Warriors.
Hello, everybody. My name is MITCHELENE BIGMAN. I'm from the Apsallaka Nation and president and founder of Native American Women Warriors and retired Army. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't do it without you. The next one is I guess we just adopted each other a few years ago. Beverly Price. Let me tell you a little bit about her and then she can continue. Beverly Price is a photographer and she's been shooting pictures for a very long time. She grew up in a part of Washington, D.C. that has been ignored for years, and the community is mostly Black. The community that she grew up in is right off of the Anacostia River. And because these white boys that came over here about 600 years ago, they could not pronounce the names that we had. The Anacostia River was actually named after a tribe of people called the Akumska. And I'm very proud of her because she's beat all odds.
That's it.
And she is now getting her master's degree at Maryland University. Anything else you want to say quickly?
Well, actually, I grew up in Capitol Hill. My grandmother and them are Cherokee. And she came from Williamsburg, Virginia, but we've been here in DC probably since the early 1800s. But I started documenting Berry Farms when I moved to Southeast in 2018 when we were pushed out of our community through gentrification. So that's when it started for me. And yeah, it's been a journey since. And I'm proud to work for the community and document and keep some parts of our history that is constantly being erased. So I work for us.
Okay. Thank you very much, sweetheart. Ola Cole. She's been a friend of mine for years when I was at that other radio station. She is from Nigeria, raised in England, and her accent is a dead giveaway. Hey, Ola, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me along tonight, Jay. And I'm just it's wonderful just to be in the company of women, and of course yourself. But it's just really wonderful to be here. And I knew Jay from the days at the other radio station, which I still get involved with from time to time. But we were on the same board, and I was the chair of that board at the time. And Jay and I have remained kept in touch, and there's a variety of things that I've done. I would say they're slightly multifaceted, including working as a film producer, a writer, composer, vocalist, a whole range of things, voice acting as well.
Okay.
But at different capacities for different things. But I think all along the way, Jay's always been one to always keep in touch with. He's a real character in every sense of the word.
Thank you for your resume.
You're welcome.
I will tell you this: when she was the chairman of the board at that radio station, I was the vice chair. And I protected her. Anybody that tried to attack her in a meeting or not in a meeting, I was right there. And I always tell them, this is my sister. Don't you ever, especially to men, attack her or embarrass her, because you're going to have hell to pay. So anyway, thank you very much.
Let's definitely see.
My next guest is my sister, Nia 2X. What can I say about this woman, this powerful Black woman? Who has Native ancestry as well. Nia, take a minute and speak for yourself.
Good evening. Good evening, Brother Jay, and to my sisters, indeed, celebrating Women's History Month. Jay, thank you for the opportunity. Every time I'm here, I don't take it for granted. I strive to be very humble. And to develop a humble servant attitude and posture as we work together. You, I, and everybody you bring us with toward our complete, total, absolute liberation, freedom, justice, and equality for all. We have to do it. We have to do it. It's not being done by the dominant culture because they can't do it. So I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
Okay, and you are also the president, DC president of what?
Of Greater DC Chapter, National Action Network, by the modern civil rights leader today, which is the Honorable Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. And that is truly a gift. I don't take it for granted. And I'm very happy to be under his tutelage, leadership, and to be a part of his support team to help him continue to do, and as he says, completing the work nonviolently, as the late, great civil rights leader back in the day, the Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
All right. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
My next guest is my sister, my lovely sister, Johnny Scott Rice. And I will tell you, Johnny don't take no mess, period. Johnny, tell us in a minute, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a fourth generation Washingtonian. I live in Fort DuPont, and I'm busy. I'm chair of the National Congress of Black Women. And in fact, we're getting ready for our 15th Shirley Chisholm Trailblazers Award, where we give scholarships out to DC kids that are headed to college. We started out giving them $100. Now we give them $1,000.
Thank you so much, Johnny. Thank you. And thank you for being a part of this tonight.
I had a tough time trying to get my speakers working.
Don't worry about John. John is there. He took care of that.
No, Daphne did. Our daughters did.
Okay. The next guest is a very good friend of mine and my sister for a long time. Her name is SHEILA HANSEN. SHEILA was one of the original founders of AIS, the American Indian Society of Washington, D.C. And she's of Shawnee blood. SHEILA, tell us a little bit about yourself in less than a minute, please. I can't hear you. Unmute, unmute, unmute. I can't hear you. Okay, there you go.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I sure can.
I said I'd tell you about myself in less than a second. I am Shenandoah Shawnee. My husband is Hansen. He's a Viking, believe it or not. So as the teepee turns, here we go. We've been married 40 plus years, and it's been interesting, this old Indian woman and that Viking man, but here we are. I serve as an elder for the American Indian Society. I'm founder of the United Tribes of the Shenandoah, and I work tirelessly to protect burial sites and sacred sites throughout our Turtle Island. I'm happy to be here and happy to see you all, my sisters.
I'm happy to see you too, sweetheart. Thank you for showing up with us. The next one is another good friend of mine for a long time. And don't tell anybody how long that's been either. Allie, I'm tongue-tied. Allie, what Allie Hall, right? I can't hear you. Turn your
Still, yeah, it's still me.
Tell us, and she is also the president of the American Indian Society of Washington, D.C. Allie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you first for allowing me to be here tonight, Jay. Thank you so much. Yes, I serve as the president of the American Indian Society, along with SHEILA. I am a Lenape citizen and the granddaughter of Mary Evangeline, who is a Susquehanna Shawnee of Pennsylvania. And it feels wonderful to be in the house today with such powerful women. I am looking forward to tonight. Wanashita.
And you did how many years in the Air Force before you retired?
Yeah, you want to tell my age, 20.
I told you I would get you.
You did. You did.
My next sister is Raquel Painter. Raquel served 26 and a half years in the United States Marine Corps. Raquel, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Yes, it's good to be here, Jay, especially with these beautiful, powerful women. I am so proud of all their accomplishments. I am Santee Sioux and Winnebago of the Ho-Chunk Nation. I am a retired sergeant major and currently the president of United Way of Onslow County and founder of the Onslow Veterans Powwow right here in Onslow.
Okay, thank you so much. My next guest is one of my new sisters. I feel like I've known her all my life, but she's not going to admit that because I'm 70. I'll be 76 in a few days. Her name is Darlene McDonald, and Darlene McDonald is actually running out of Utah for the United States House of Representatives. Oh, absolutely. Darlene, you got the floor now. A minute. Tell us about who you are.
Thank you, Jay. It is a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to be amongst such powerful women, especially on this celebration of Women's History Month. I am running for Congress in Utah's 4th Congressional District, and one of the reasons why I decided to run is because we definitely need to show up for our communities. We've had, unfortunately, a lot of increase in racism and racist incidents in Utah's public schools. and showing up to the school districts and showing up for the parents has really inspired me to run for office again. So I am proud and honored to be here with you tonight.
Honored to see your face again. All right, ladies. I guess you all know that the title of this show is The Strong Voices of Women of Color Aspiring to Take on the Leadership here in this country, this United Snakes of America. So let's start with Micheline. What are your thoughts on that? You got 2 minutes.
I think it's it's a long time coming, and I think it's great to see so many powerful ladies, especially here on this show, that are taking that step and break that glass ceiling. Like I say, it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad to see it. They're setting the pathway for our future generation.
Okay. So now let's go to Beverly. Beverly, what are your thoughts on women of color stepping forward and taking positions? You earned them already, but just take positions.
I think that women are the protectors of the land. And I believe that, we can't thrive unless women have a little bit more input. I think that a lot of things have been set up through indoctrination that has put us back. But now we're seeing throughout the planet that it's important that we get back into things and our hand is in the dirt. And America's learning that. So I think that all of us putting forth our energy, we don't have to try to save the world, but just doing one step at a time. We're doing the work and we're working collectively. So just moving forward.
Darlene, your thoughts, baby. Look, don't you all mind me calling you baby, because I any woman that I love and respect, I call her baby.
Thank you very much, and I take that as a tremendous honor. I was thinking about this as someone who is running to represent a district in the United States Congress. And I think about historically, especially women of color, our Native American sisters, and especially our ancestors, our African American ancestors. This country was built on the backs of Black women. And when I think about that, and I think about the matriarch of my family and what she had gone through and had to go through so that I can be here today, sharing this stage with lovely, beautiful, and accomplished women of color. This country was built by women of color. And the economic progress that this country enjoyed today was on the backs of that labor, on the back of that labor. And also, let's not even forget about how we helped replenish the labor force as well. So when you think about that, we are moving forward in roles of leadership in this country because we have always been there in the first place. So that's what I think about when I hear that question.
You just mentioned roles of leadership. When I was growing up, we were taught as young men, little boys, that the women are in charge, period. The men go out and work and they bring back, what's needed for the house to have, to feed the children, take care of everybody. But the women were always in charge, even before the white boys showed up here on our shores. Women would lead men into battle. They would decide what battle to fight and which warriors to send. That's just a brief part of the history of Native women. So it's nothing more than automatic for them to step into roles of responsibility, just like our Black sisters. So I just had to put that in there. Nia 2X, your thoughts on this?
Yes, sir. I was thinking, there has been a conscious effort to attempt to suppress, oppress, omit, distort, and ruin the value of women, to regulate us to a certain position. But the power of womanhood cannot be regulated. It's controlled by nature, and nature is controlled by God. So the power in women has yet to resurface and take its rightful place, but to balance with manhood. So we have a balance of men and women in a society, in a world, in a universe that will help this universe come to the reality and our potential as human beings. We're nowhere near it with this lack of leadership, this dominant system of racism, white supremacy today, but we're on our way.
All right. So let me see. Raquel Painter, it's on you, sweetheart.
Yes, Jay. One thing I definitely want to mention about women is life ceases to exist without us. And I think women have been put on this earth for many reasons, to bear children, to raise children, to pass on knowledge. And I think it's long overdue that we're beyond time that we're in position of power. We finally got a female vice president this year, and a lot of our Native sisters are now in the Senate. A lot of changes are being done, but it's long overdue. But I'll tell you, the women have the knowledge and the power to go forth and fill any position that is laid out anywhere.
Okay, thank you. Johnny. No, not Johnny. Not Johnny. If I don't call the right one, I'm going to get hurt. Allie.
Yes, Jay.
All right, you got the floor, sweetie.
Okay. Well, my take on this is much like everyone else's. In our community, women are foundation. And people say, well, the man is the house. Okay, that's fine. It's a good shelter. But should that foundation crack or crumble, a house will not stand. Women are the bringers of life. As we were saying before, we are the bringers of life. We are the bringers of hope. But never be confused that that gentle touch of a mother is also the person that can yield or wield a weapon to protect that same family, that family core values. So with women going into these positions of powers, what people don't understand is they were always there. They're just now being recognized. They were always behind the curtain like the wizard. So when you see these men making these wonderful speeches, believe me, there was somebody behind him guiding those words. That's it.
Yep, and that's so true. I just read that some guy in Massachusetts sent out an email, a racist email, and now he's saying, "Well, I'm sorry, that was a mistake." It was not a mistake. He knew what he was doing. He's a racist. Exactly. So let me get off of that horse. Johnny Scott Rice. It's on you, sweetheart.
Oldest person on this thing, 80 years old. And let me tell y'all something. It's a wonderful thing to have lived to be 80 years old and been married to the same man for 61 years. Okay? It makes me understand why I was put on this earth. And that was to live a long time and raise a lot of hell for my people. And that's women and girls and young boys, to teach them to respect their sisters, their mothers, their grandmothers, all of that good stuff. Because those men can't make it without us. They couldn't even be here without us. And they should, back in the day, women were obedient and subservient to their husbands and any man that came in their life. But those same women were making good men out of no, you know, they didn't know their behinds from a hole in the ground without a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still the same way today. And I am proud of all y'all young women. I am so proud of you. I got a daughter in there I'm proud of. They can't make it here without us. They can't even be born without us. Anytime you can deliver a baby, you are strong. And then raise them to turn them into good men and good women and teach them that life is an important thing. And if they don't take care of themselves, somebody gonna kill them or they gonna go to jail. And what we gonna do? Cry, pray, and ask God to save them. That's what we do.
Okay.
That's what we were here for.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Sheila Hansen, your turn. You're up now.
I want to say that I completely agree to all the women who have spoken, and it is time that all women raise the bar and step up. Sometimes it's hard to say the truth, but the truth is the truth. And as far as I can see today, we absolutely need to be teaching our young women respect for themselves, respect for our greatest mother, our earth, and how to conduct themselves with respect. So I am so happy to see so many women rising up and taking leadership roles and doing a great job. We are at the cusp of a change in our country and in the world. I think some of the world's already changed and we're a little bit behind. But hopefully we'll get there. We keep going and persevering and keep on. And that's the key to it. You know, I'm in the north part of this life shield, and you have to persevere. It's about persistence. It's about love and caring for one another. Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome. Ola Cole, you're up. You need to unmute yourself, Ola, because I can't hear you. There you go again.
Following off the back of these wonderful women, I just have to just say what I've always thought is that women are amazing. They just really are. And the question was, what are your thoughts of women of color stepping up to positions of power in America? My answer to that is stepping up. I don't see why, because more than often, women are the star candidates, actually. And for me, I found that when it comes to seeing women in positions of leadership, positions of power, whatever you wish to, how you wish to describe this, it's absolutely necessary because not only, as I just mentioned, because more often we're star candidates, but to find balance. Look around the world today and see what's going on. It happens when there's a lack of balance, when you give too much power to certain individuals. And I don't think actually know that women are actually a central part of the checks and balances that we are needed in society. The problem is there was a study that was done, I think several years ago, perhaps even a few decades ago now, where people used to ask, well, if women can be president of this company or president of this country, why don't they run for it? What the study found was that often women need to be encouraged to say, I think you'd be an ideal candidate for this, because too often we've been told that, oh, well, if we're only worthy 58 cents on the dollar of what a man or a white male can earn, or 48 cents or 47 cents on the dollar, we've actually started to believe the narrative. But the narrative is the only true narrative is that women are amazing. And that's it.
All right, thank you. All right, now I got a question for everybody. And Leslie's in my head. I was just getting ready to ask this question. What are your thoughts about the appointment of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson? Do you feel that she will be an example or made an example of? Let's start with you, Micheline.
I think she's going to set the example. She's going to live and breathe what an amazing leader that she is, with all her knowledge and how she's going to share it. And she's going to prove America, and she's going to prove a lot of her male counterparts that, hey, you know, I was selected for a reason, because I know I have the experience and I'm not afraid. And sometimes it's getting past that fear. We're in that mindset that was said, you know, where it's embedded into us. But this is where we take off that blanket and say no more, and build up our shield, grab our shield and get ready to, you know, look, we're ready to stand this. Is it a struggle? Yes, I've been there. It's always going to be a struggle as a person or a woman of color at any leadership position, because you're going to be challenged. But I think she's going to take this challenge and just show how and display how it can be overcome at any time.
I think you're right. So, Beverly, what do you think? I can't hear you.
I have to be honest. I don't know much about her, to be honest, but I will say I have faith in just women in general, Black women. But I will say, you know, we have to also I think that America has to focus on people that are really doing the work in these communities. Not saying that she isn't, but I'm looking for people that are actually out in the communities and in the culture, and really like doing groundwork, not just in political spaces. I think that we have a lot of people show up in these places, but they have no connection to the community. What I saw at Howard University recently, a kid sleeping on the grounds was just crazy to me. So I wanted to see more leaders out there. So I think moving forward, for this to be successful, for her to be successful in this campaign, is to really do the groundwork within the community and making sure when we are calling that the work is done. So that's where I want to see the work. I really just want to see work that's really done in the community and just not in political office.
Right.
So, yep, that's for me.
Okay. Darlene?
I definitely believe that she will be an example. It is imperative that we get people on the Supreme Court that understands racism, and especially how racism is embedded in American law. This is extremely important when you think about how we're going to dismantle white supremacy and how we are going to dismantle systemic racism. We have to first understand how systemic racism works in our institutions. That is how it works in policy, how it works in laws. And so I am encouraged that we have Judge Ketanji Jackson nominated for the Supreme Court and what she can bring to the Supreme Court. We have someone that's there now that is of color who works opposite of that. So we need to be able to have Judge Jackson on the court so that we can move in the direction that Thurgood Marshall had set for us that has been rolled back.
You know, I can't agree with you more, because that thing they got there, that black face, I have no faith in him. You know, everything the white man tell him to do, he does it. And as far as Thurgood Marshall is concerned, now I know a lot of you are going to say, what? Thurgood Marshall was actually a member of the Rappahannock Nation of Virginia. He had more Indian in him than he had black in him. So if anybody says there's never been an Indian on the Supreme Court, I beg to differ. because I do my history and I research people. So here we go. Sister Nia 2X, your thoughts on this great judge that she was on both sides of the bench, so she knows what's going on.
I don't know a lot about her either, but I'm certainly hopeful, and hopeful with caution that she gets there and represents the job she's being sent to do, which is to, administer justice with the most highest power in the land, which is the Supreme Court. So the hope is that she's really Black, because as you just stated, it doesn't have the value until time demonstrates that she's truly a sister. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said that a man can't ride your back unless it's bent. So if she goes in with a straight back and strong and weather that storm of racism, white supremacy, God is with her, and she will grow and expand and be able to exert her power freely. And always, to wrap it up, being the first of anything always comes with a position of great challenge. So she comes in with a straight, strong, spiritual outlook. I think she'll be fine and represent law and justice beyond color, but represent your people well, all at the same time. But do the job as God would want you to do it, because he doesn't see the color. He sees the principle in what he created, which was justice. Good luck and Godspeed to our sister.
Absolutely. Raquel.
Yes, I think she's definitely going to set an example. She's going to be the first of her kind at the Supreme Court, the highest level we got for justice. I think really if she focuses on the equality and how laws are written and work to change it so it is equal for all, I think she'll set a huge example and set the mark. But like any woman being the first, she's going to have her challenges. But like you said, women are strong, we're resilient. I think she'd be up for the task.
Well, I'm going to tell you what about Justice Sotomayor. She ain't taking no mess off of him. And her and I share some of the same blood. She's from Puerto Rico, and my Taino family is from Puerto Rico. That woman don't play. And she has stood up to them white boys and to that Uncle Thomas many, many times, and especially for women's rights. And, I got to take my hat off to her and respect her for the stance that she's taken on so many things, so many different issues. Ali?
Well, I think the first thing we have to look at is that when she steps into this position, she's going to be 51 years old. And that's their first fear, is that she's going to outlive a lot of people. Number two, she cannot shed her gender, nor can she shed her ethnicity. And since we really don't know her entire upbringing or the trials and tribulations that she's gone through to get here, I have an underlying feeling that, one, she is anchored, she's a faith walker, that when she gets there, yeah, she's going to set things on fire. But what we need to be aware of is that they work for us, and we need to hold every one of them accountable. So we have to make sure that we don't remain silent with anything that happens up there. Supreme Court, she has 51 years. A lot of those old folks are going to be very nervous, because if she just kicked the door down, or she's not the first one, but she just kicked the door down. Once you kick the door down, they're going to come in there like cockroaches. There's a whole lot of more people following her in.
Okay. Johnny Scott, you got the floor. Unmute.
Hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Let me just give you a little story. Ketanji Jackson. I sat on the Law Enforcement Commission for about 10 years or more, and she came before us. We put her in that position to be the next Supreme Court justice. She is super smart. She knows who she is. She is going to be one of the best that's ever been on there. I can tell you from knowing her. She knows who she is, what she is, and why she was put in that position when we interviewed her. And we set her in the position. And we got several others coming behind her, brothers and sisters that will be in line for that Supreme Court. So know this, that little young woman is ready. She's smart, she's shrewd, and she cannot be played.
Oh, good.
I'm telling y'all from my personal experience with her. And when we did it and she got the job and we went to the court to help her be installed in that position. She's short like me and she's tiny like me, but she has beautiful legs and she wears nothing but ankle strap shoes. And I told her, get them, girl, put the shoes on, put the robe on, step and show them that you are prepared. And she is truly prepared.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
It's a whole lot of them. We got a whole lot of them in line.
Mm-hmm.
Black women and brothers. We got them in line and they come from our court. Okay. So let me tell y'all something. If we keep Biden in there, he gonna get some more that we've put in place.
Okay. Well, you know what, Johnny, I'm gonna tell you something. Along with getting our Black sisters and brothers on the Supreme Court, we need to work just as hard to get some of our Native American brothers and sisters on the Supreme Court, because we got some Native American lawyers. They're just, they're so sharp that I'm afraid to walk near them because I might get cut in the process. That's
well, I'll tell you, we put some good ones on in place. There are a lot of them. I just got put off that commission, by the way, because when we were doing our last interviews, there was a Jewish judge that wanted to move up, and I stopped him. And I got written up in the Washington Post because I called him one of them slick Jews. And he was. I knew of a case that he did here against a child in Southeast. Sent him to Texas to prison for stealing something. And the boy didn't last a week. Killed him. 17-year-old. And when I spoke about it, one of the members, I got into her because she was one of them Uncle Tom's sisters. And I told her to shut her mouth. Don't discuss this with me because you don't know what you're talking about. And my girl leaked me in the Washington Post. And me and Eleanor fixed them. We didn't respond to the Washington Post. They couldn't have a story if we didn't respond.
There you go.
You have to learn when to talk and when to shut up.
Yeah, you know what? And there's always two sides to a story before it can be a story. Sheila, you're next. Sheila HANSEN.
Well, I don't know how she's going to do, but after hearing Johnny, I think she's going to be great, and
she is.
Can't wait to see what she does. A lot of our system that we have found out just going to Richmond to get some legislation done to protect burials, Native American and African American graveyards, is how slow and how complicated our government and our system really is. It takes a lot of patience. Why can't you do just what's right? So I want to see what she's going to do. I'm hopeful, and I think she's going to be good. She's going to probably have a lot of negative things come out about her. Everybody does. You know, you're doing something right when you get
When
that negative response.
yeah, when they're talking about
yeah, when they're talking about you, you know you're doing something, and
That's right.
you're getting through to somebody.
okay,
So let's just see what's going to happen there.
yep, there you go. Now, before I go to Ola, we need to get behind, you know, all of you that live in these states, these 48, 50 states. Um, we need to make sure that we vote the right person in from your state. You understand? And get rid of some of these redneck crackers, like McConnell. He's beyond his time has expired. I'm not. I don't know why he hasn't died. And somebody like Trump too. Oh my God, where in the hell did they get this fool from? And I can name them on and on and on because there's so many of them that they're not their worth in dirt. So they might as well just go on and die and lay in the dirt. So I'm sorry, y'all. That's the way I feel. Ola, you're from Africa. You need to unmute, Ola, so I can hear you.
I said, you should tell us how you really feel, Jay. That's what I just said. For me, first of all, I don't know her. I've never met her. But what I can see is that she's brilliant, she's brave, and she's bold. But as a Supreme Court justice, I see her job to be much wider, quite frankly. There is so much, there's so much toxic air in this country. My hope actually is that she sets the standard by able to detox what's going on in this country by having a fair, holding on to justice, holding on to equity, and those values, and actually showing a new vision as to how we can actually unite by having people in the Supreme Court who just show and exemplify what it means to stand for things that are fair, that are right. And if she can do that, quite frankly, I think that she will just be beyond tremendous.
Absolutely. Now let me just justify what I mean by crackers. Back during the times of chattel slavery here in the United States, these slave owners and plantation owners, they would advertise for crackers. What's a cracker? A cracker was a white boy that could crack a whip and keep slaves in line. That's what that's all about. I got kicked off of Facebook, put in their jail behind using the word cracker, until I wrote back to him and told Zuckerberg that he was a fool. You know, you're going to put me off Facebook because I had the nerve to call it like it is. And I wrote the whole definition of cracker. It took 5 paragraphs and I sent it to him. And, you know, 5 minutes later, they put me back on Facebook because I told them, I said, you're not the only one that's got lawyers. I got friends that are lawyers. And some of them are just like you. They're Jews. So you can try me if you want to. I'm out of this prison. 5 minutes later. Oh, you're back on Facebook? Yeah, I guess I am. You know, the one thing that hurts these people is when you know the facts and you know the truth and you speak it boldly to protect yourself and other people of color. They don't like that. And I get in the case every time I can. So anyway, it says here, somebody asked a question, why does it seem like a gap between the older generation understanding the younger generation in respect to them being leaders and the elders supporting the young generation authentically? Well,
Elder, can we have Allie answer that question first?
oh, absolutely. Allie?
Okay, thank you for that. The one thing that we first have to understand is we have to get back to our culture, our foundation, and I'm sure that's the same in any ethnic group. Elder is a person is not based on your age. It is based on how you walk, how you carry yourself, how people see you and how you see yourself. Now, the thing about having a gap between the older generation understanding the younger generation, I think that is because we have allowed the influence of Western culture to come in, because the younger generation has always been our hope. As the elders, we have become the promise of what's to come. But if the older generation, even that doesn't, like I said, that doesn't mean that you're an elder, you're just old. Some people are just old. But if you are an elder, that means that you walk in wisdom and you walk so that the younger generation can understand what is going to be for them to do. The respect has to be mutual. SHEILA and I sat down, we learn from the younger generation on a daily basis. And we instill in them some things that they may not know. We teach them about medicine and plants. We teach them how to heal themselves. And in turn, they teach us about Snapchat. So, it's a two-way road.
Mm-hmm. Well, I see this picture of this guy that's been asking questions. His name is T. Christopher. And he's wearing a chief's bonnet. And I got a question for him. What nation do you belong to? And are you really a chief, or are you just wearing that bonnet? Because if you're just wearing that bonnet, that is so disrespectful. You have to earn those feathers. Okay, so let's get
I believe that he may just have a photo up. It may not necessarily be him. So with all due respect, Elder, explain to him, if that is him with the bonnet, why that's important.
You have to earn those feathers, and those feathers are earned in ancient times in combat. And even in present military, native men that go to war and fight, they earn those feathers, and you have to earn those feathers. You just can't go out and buy a war bonnet and wear it. So that's what it's all about. I'm not coming down on you, T. Christopher, but I just wanted you to know that. It's a beautiful bonnet, but still, you have to earn it, and you have to honor it, and you have to respect your people. And then your people make the decision on whether you are able to wear that. So that's what it is. So I got a message for Johnny and SHEILA. If you can give one good word of advice to a younger woman of color. Johnny, you go first, and then SHEILA. What would that word be? What would that advice be?
Know who you are. Know where to get good advice. Know how to share yourself and the knowledge that you have been given. Respect yourself. Respect who you come from. Give back to your community, because you're not going to stay young forever.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to want to need somebody one day to take care of you. So take care of the older people. Those of us that are getting there, that are already there, respect us, because we can teach you how to respect yourself and keep your butt alive.
Amen. Okay.
That.
All right. SHEILA, what would you tell these young women out here? What advice would you give them?
My one word My one word would be perseverance. Stay true to your heart, stay true to your purpose, and persevere on that road. Walk a good road with respect, with love, with caring, and with charity. That doesn't mean not to be strong and speak up when things are wrong. You know, there's two different types of warriors. We have the warriors that go to war, but we also have peace warriors. And I believe that as women, we are the peace warriors. We are not going to send our young men, our husbands, our sons, our grandsons into war unless we really have to. So just persevere and stay true to your heart and who you are. If you don't know your purpose, you'll find it. Keep going.
That's right.
Okay, thank you, Sheila. Okay, so let me go to Beverly Price. Beverly, you know, you're a prime example of stepping out of the dirt and rising like the phoenix. You are a perfect example of somebody that knows how to persevere, one that respects yourself and others around you. So what advice would you give these young girls out here that are running wild?
I think what I would give them is have respect for yourself, you know, and know your worth. Don't settle, because women play a bigger role than what we think. My current project is I'm focusing on young Black boys and the importance of women speaking for them, not men speaking for them, because I look at myself like a Black Madonna, the connection between the mother and the son. So once you start to nourish Black boys and show them that women are from a higher place and give them love from the womb, that is so big and so vital to the environment. So I just think Black women need to understand their role as mothers, understand their role as villagers, because I'm not a mother, but I still step up and help out the village, and that's important. So as a Black woman, you know, don't settle for less. You know, when you're dealing with brothers and you see this is happening in our rap music and our tradition, all of our music is disrespectful to Black women coming from us. So we have to first check the home first, you know.
Right.
So I think Black women have to say, if you're talking about me like this isn't cool. One thing about the culture, if Black women today sit there and say, I don't want a man that's hustling and I don't want a man that's calling me the B word, they're going to do whatever they have to do to straighten up to make sure they are looking good in your eyes. The world sets out to be us. So, you know, all these other women from all other cultures are trying to get big lips and big butts. So I think you know, as a Black woman, we can't say you living off our culture. You can no longer steal from us. You can no longer take our culture from us. You have to demand respect and don't settle for less. So I grew up from a Black man who taught me respect for myself, and I'm a strong Black woman, and I don't settle for anything other than respect for me. So I just think moving forward, Black women need to know our roles in society and just start raising the bar and demanding the respect that we deserve and that we need.
There you go. So let me go to Raquel. What Beverly just said applies to our young Native women as well. Am I correct?
It most certainly is. Beverly Beverly hit the nail with the hammer right there. She was right. I mean, it's all about respect for one another, respect for the mothers, respect for our elders. And it works the other way around. We got to give respect to our youth, you know, have confidence and faith in their abilities because they learn from us. You know, we're raising the future generations, but respect, I think, is vital to our society as a whole.
Exactly, because a mother is actually the first teacher to any child that she and others that are friends of hers or people in the same tribe or village, the mothers are the very first educators. Micheline, your thoughts on it?
Sorry.
Hello?
Yes. Yes, I totally agree with what Beverly had said and Raquel. A lot of times, the way media exploits women and how it kind of carries off into our society, even as far as our socialization upbringing. Even if being raised in a broken home, sometimes we don't have that constant guidance that we need. But what's good is when you have your teachers, you have your counselors, you have a lot of great women that come where the village raises the children. And it's never too late. Are you going to stumble? Yes.
Hmm.
But you dust yourself off and be like, okay, life is about making mistakes and learning from them mistakes. The time that you stop learning is when you're 6 feet underground. But until then, you're going to stumble. You just keep on going. Perseverance. I heard perseverance. Do not let that go. Be who you want to be. And the sky is the limit. But yeah, one thing is, the respect. Respect yourself.
Absolutely.
Don't forget what's in your heart.
Darlene, your thoughts on it?
I gotta ask what the question is again.
What can you teach these young girls out here that are running wild?
Running wild. Are they running wild or are they running? You know, we have to, first of all, we have to stop judging them.
Yeah.
We are young women are free to be who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have to listen to them. Respect is one of those things that's earned. And that's a lesson I learned working with younger girls. I walked in there thinking, oh, I was going to teach them a thing or two. And they ended up teaching me a thing or two because respect is earned. And I hadn't earned their trust or respect yet. And once I did that, it was now I can see them walking down the street and it's Miss Darlene or Auntie Darlene. I earned it because I gave it. And we gotta make mistakes. We're all gonna make mistakes. You don't know their mistakes until after you've made them. But it's part of the learning process, and we have to allow our young people the room to grow. That is what I would leave to them. Grow, become who you are, be who you are, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid.
Absolutely. But you know something, you can reach a lot of them, but some of them you can't reach because they're already toxic. They're toxic from their environment. They're toxic from how they're treated. They're toxic because these no good men use them. And man, I wish it was a way to get to all of these young women, young girls, before they get involved with a man that's not worth 2 cents in anybody's money. But
Jay, if I can just add to that, less than I'm sorry to interrupt, but generational trauma plays a role in this.
Mm-hmm.
So we cannot forget what is handed down. And most of the time, the young people have no idea the burdens they're carrying on their shoulders is not even their own.
True.
And they don't know that. And it takes the wisdom of our ancestors and the wisdom of the people that are on this panel with me today to teach and to share that with our younger generation.
Okay, I got you. But let me say this. It breaks my heart to see a young girl or a woman in handcuffs being led off to be arrested. That just breaks my heart. Allie, why don't you weigh in on this? Because you got some firsthand experience in all of this.
Both Sheila and I both do, actually. We do see these young women coming in here because I don't want to say they're broken, but they have been damaged. And when I said, and I'm with them, do you know that only thing that they really have wanted to do was succeed and for someone to tell them in their lives, good job. When they have those that's called recidivism, where they go back to jail, they get out, they go back. People say, well, why did you do that? Well, understand a lot of times when they get out of jail, they have no place to go. And the court has ordered them not to leave their vicinity. So they're pushed right back into the same thing that took them to jail the first time. So until we can actually form some type of like an escape hatch for these young women to come out. I only can speak for the women because that's who I work with. For them to come out and be able to have sanctity, a sanctuary, someplace to give them an opportunity because a lot of these young women are brilliant. They're smart. They have hopes and dreams. So if we can stop that, we're non-judgmental. Can you imagine if they had a place and an opportunity where they can come in and when they leave the next time, they're going to a job?
Okay.
It's really hard to see that. Yeah.
Okay, Beverly, your thoughts on that? And you got only a minute and a half because we're going to have to shut down soon.
Well, I just think, we just have to, I think the elders also have to, like they were saying before, give back to the youth and reteach the youth because a lot of them have dropped the ball. My grandmother made us believe that the land wasn't given to us by our grandchildren, it was loaned to us from our children. So, moving forward, the elders need to stay in place because even looking at the job market, we can't buy homes right now. We can't, we're selling off all our land and our generation isn't set up. We don't have no 401k. We don't have positions. People 70 years old are still working. So, I think moving forward, the elders need to reconsider what's happening in our schools. The public policy needs to change and not blame the kids for this high carjacking. Blame what's happening in these schools, removing art, removing music, removing educational programs that can help them thrive is the issue. So if we're sitting back watching this as elders and as people in this community and not speaking up for these children and they just want to punish them for what we did not stand up for, then we are going to face the problem because they're going to take care of us one day. So moving forward, I think the job is of the elders and we need to rethink and relook at all of our youth right now and our school systems and what they are lacking.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Something that was very shocking to me, I saw somebody send it to me that in the state of Maryland, that they want to make it against the law for some of the hairstyles that Black women wear. Come on now. That ain't none of your damn business. Nobody said anything about your hair and not trying to regulate how you cut your hair or how you dye your hair. So, they're on the wrong track. And that came out of racism and jealousy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Look at Ola's hair. I think her hair is beautiful. Look at Bev's hair. I think it's beautiful. Look at my sisters, Micheline and Raquel. I think it's beautiful. Johnny Scott's hair is beautiful. Allie's hair is beautiful. So what is the damn problem? Other than trying to regulate people, I've had enough of their regulations because guess what? None of them has worked out for our people. They came here 600 years ago, and the only thing they brought with them was their priests, their Bible, and Native people got introduced to Christianity at the point of a gun. Think about that. They lied to us. They stole our land from us. Come on, please. Okay, so we're going to have to wrap up. So I'm going to start with Micheline, 1 minute for your closing thoughts.
I just want to thank you, Jay, for this opportunity. And I am so glad to be part of this panel with these extraordinary women. Again, just for all of those that are listening, there's a lot that has been said, but more than anything, just take these thoughts, as a mental note. And if you can be that change agent, I was always told people, being a change agent is a challenge, but it can be done.
Yes, it can. Okay. The next person is Darlene. 1 minute. Your closing thoughts.
Well, I'm going to close with a pitch that if you want to know more about my campaign, we are putting together the website at votedarlene.com. You can go to my website to learn more about me. Even if you want to donate a couple of dollars, you can go to votedarlene.com. We're in it to win it. Utah was gerrymandered like many other states, but we're running a really good campaign, and I'm looking forward to meeting with as many people as I can.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Washington, D.C. Thank you. Sister Nia 2X, closing thoughts.
Yes, sir, brother. You know, truth is the language of God. And tonight, that's what was exemplified by everyone speaking. If we continue to use his language, incrementally, he will continue to raise us and bring us to, again, the liberation that we seek. And once we get back on those thrones, kings and queens, we're there to not ever, ever leave them and rule with God's justice. It was a great panel, and it was great information from everyone. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you very much, sis. And before I go to Johnny Scott, I want to ask all of y'all a question. It only takes one word, yes or no. Will you all come back again for another conversation at some point?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Johnny Scott, you got 1 minute. I know you about to sweat. Johnny Scott. Can't hear you.
Okay.
Now I can hear you.
This was a wonderful evening. I'm impressed with these young women, and I wish I could live forever to see the end of the story. Because it's just beginning. And we need to do this more often, especially women, because we catch so much hell from y'all in the world. And y'all can't live without us. You can't even be here without us. So, you know, we earned the right to speak our minds and to help each other out. The one thing that has always bothered me about us, we beat up on each other worse than anybody else do. And we don't need to do that. And I'm seeing unity among women of all colors and all ages. And that's what we're going to need to keep on the trail of going forward and saving and educating our babies.
That's right. Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate it. I do appreciate you. And I got to say this to you, Johnny. Your hair is beautiful.
That's 81 years of living.
That's all right. That's good. Let's start with Ola. You got 1 minute, sweetie.
I wanted to say that this is probably the toughest time in the last 100 years to be a young woman in America or anywhere else in the world. The pandemic alone has had such a huge toll, mentally, emotionally, in every aspect. And I think that for every young woman who is either thriving or just barely surviving, we need to match mentors. We need to match all of our young women with mentors. And also, I would say that we have to give ourselves a better sense of ourselves and our own identities and histories. And I say this to my own children as well, that don't spend your time calling anyone else names. Instead, tell people your name. Tell them your name and who you are.
That's right.
Because that's way more important.
That's right. Thank you, Ola. I love you. Thank you so much. Beverly, your closing thoughts.
Well, I'm honored to be on this panel with everyone here. I think everyone here is extremely brilliant, and I'm just really honored to be here. But moving forward, I plan on continue doing my documentary work through my photography and visual arts, and I'll be graduating from Maryland College Institute of Art in May, and I want to continue to do my work working with the elders in the community, and also working with the youth, and continue to speak for the youth and giving them a voice in the inner city ghettos, or I call them the ghetto reservations. So I'm gonna continue to work for them, and because the cultures, everybody's following them in the culture, but nobody wants to check on their mental health and what we can change within those communities. So I'm gonna continue to use my camera as my weapon, and keep moving forward. And thank you all for having me here today.
Well, you know what? I really respect you and love you. And you said something, ghetto reservations. Reservations, the true meaning of reservations is that they were set up by the Department of War as concentration camps for Native people, a place for them to die, not to thrive, but to die. Okay, Raquel, it's on you, sweetheart.
Yes, and the good thing is, Jay, we are still here. You know, just how strong and resilient the Native people are. But definitely my final thoughts for this segment was, what a wonderful discussion. I mean, so many points to take away, especially for our young women. And I just want to say that as a leader, you know, there's so many women out there that are leaders. Definitely reach a hand down and help our younger women to step up into those roles, because they are going to be the future. So take the time, be a mentor. A lot of times you probably are a mentor to somebody and don't know it. There's always somebody watching you. So do what you can to make a difference in the lives of our young women.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Raquel, and simplify to you, sister.
Simplify.
Hoorah! My sister, I don't know what to call you, my sister, my aunt, or whatever, but SHEILA HANSEN, you know I love you. You got a minute to give your closing thoughts.
Unmute.
Okay.
Thank you, Jay. I want to go back to what Beverly was talking about our school system. I had an elder many years ago tell me that if you leave out religious teachings and traditions, then you are trying to teach a one-legged man to dance. And I want to add that to your list, Beverly, if you could. You know, we need to go back to our basics. No matter what religion you are, we all pray to the same creator. And we need to instill that. That's been taken out of our schools also. So thank you to all you wonderful women that were on this panel. I hope that we can meet sometime and we can just discuss this all night long and have a good old time. Thank you, Jay, for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and I love you. Allie, you got the final word.
Okay. Thank you for allowing us to be here. You women are wonderful. You're encouraging and you're powerful. My final thought is that, you know, if you see me going down the road and I have my hands dangling, take my hand and I'll take you with me. You can ride my back, but the one thing that I will not allow anyone to do is to drag your feet. I will always be your mentor for as long as I'm walking on the red road and on this loop. And if you can raise a young male into a young, powerful man, you have done a service to this world. So we have to raise them up in the way that they should go.
Thank you so much, Allie. And now my closing thoughts. But before that, I want to thank my executive producer, Leslie Fry. Thank you, Leslie, for making it great again. My closing thoughts are, as usual, my grandfather would always tell us when we were little boys, it's not about the color of your skin. It's not about the color of your eyes. It's not about the texture of your hair. or the clothes you wear. It's not about your traditions or your culture. And he would stop and stand up and look at us, and we were all looking at him. And he would put his right hand over his heart, and he would say, "Do you know what it's really all about?" And of course, my cousin Junior would always say, "What is it about, Grandpa?" He said, "It's about how you treat my heart." That's what it's all about, folks. So until we come back again next week, I am so appreciative of every one of these beautiful that have participated in this broadcast tonight, and especially to Leslie Fry. Love you, sis. Talk to you all next week. Dana da, go ai, wado.